Wow, is that what is that? Well, let me start that again. Is that what it feels like whenever we used to play against a Mourinho Chelsea team? Dominate the ball and lose 1-0. I think that's what it felt like. This is Crinkle Talks Football. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. I hope you're doing good after tonight's result. This is my match reaction to Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. If you're new to the channel, guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. Follow me on Twitter, I've Mr. CJ Wright. Follow me on my podcast journey, Crinkle Talks Football. I want to read out something before I go into anything else. This was from Julian Lawrence, which was on the 5th of May. Update: in 4 months at Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel has now beaten Zinedine Zidane, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Diego Simeone ×2, Jose Mourinho and Carlo Ancelotti, and without conceding a single goal in either of those 7 matches. Well, guess what? You ain't adding Arteta to that list. And guess what? We didn't concede. Guys, let's get into it. Before I go any further, Eid Mubarak to everybody. You know, inshallah, everybody had a wonderful Ramadan and your fasts are accepted, and this whole next year is fantastic for everybody. You know, tomorrow is a good day, and it's made this Eid so much better, the fact that Arsenal won. I'll tell you that for a fact. Wow, let's get straight into the lineups. So, we went with a back 3. We basically matched Chelsea. Holding, Gabriel and Mari made up the back 3, with Bukayo Saka dropped in at right wing back. Elneny and Partey made up the 2-man midfield, and Kieran Tierney played as a left wing back. With Martin Odegaard and Emil Smith-Rowe playing in behind Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Basically combated the Chelsea 3-4-3, or you know, however they played. I'm not going to lie, a lot of the time Arsenal played with a back 5. Let's be honest with that, brutally honest, but it worked. We cut off all of their supply lines and we literally nullified their attack. Other than the small little mistake which led Kai Havertz in through one-on-one, which he decided to have a Timo Werner night and bury it, put it straight over the bar. Chelsea didn't really trouble us. Obviously, I know second half they had a goal disallowed through offside, but without really doing a lot, they didn't do a lot, if that makes sense. And so the first half, really, it was kind of... We opened in 5 minutes. Actually, you know what? The whole team, I'll be fair before I start, the whole team was fantastic. We pressed well together as a unit, and it's not something we've seen too often. You see every now and then glimpses of 1 or 2 men moving forward at any given time, but today, the whole team pressed. Aubameyang up front, Odegaard, Smith-Rowe behind, Partey, Elneny in the midfield, Saka and Tierney pushed in, and when they didn't, the back 3, Holding, Gabriel, Mari, pushed in perfectly. And you know what? Before I go any further yet again, I said this in a previous video. The moment Kieran Tierney got injured initially and we put Granit Xhaka left back, we should have gone to a back 3. Exactly how we were playing today, obviously with David Luiz probably in where Pablo Mari was, but Bellerin would have played at right wing back, you could have had Saka at left wing back, and everything would have just been perfect. And then you could maybe go in for the rest of the season with this formation the same way that Chelsea have done, and got to a European final, got to an FA Cup final, shoo-in for top 4. Everything about tonight's performance, in reality, I'll be honest, has kind of made me think, if we'd have done this beforehand, yeah, it could have been a lot, because Smith-Rowe and Odegaard are our attacking creative outlets, and we'd have been able to produce performances in terms of winning games comfortably as well, the way Chelsea have been doing, without conceding defensively as well. So like I said, look, first half, Aubameyang picked up on a mistake by Jorginho. Jorginho played a pass back to Kepa, and Kepa was nowhere to be seen. The ball was going pretty much into an open net. Kepa managed to scoop the ball out off the line. Aubameyang picked the ball up, played it back to Smith-Rowe, and he scored for his 2nd consecutive Premier League game. Now, question marks initially were whether or not the referee would have given a back pass, because Kepa handled the ball, he's not allowed to do that. But thankfully, Mariner played on and allowed the advantage to go ahead, because reality was, if he had blown up for an indirect free kick, Kepa wouldn't have been booked or red carded, and we would have been in a situation where they would have had 10 men on the line pretty much, and we'd have had so much more difficult opportunity to score. Whereas this way, he allowed the advantage to go ahead, and we capitalised. Second half, like I said, Chelsea had a goal disallowed. Pulisic was offside from a header, handled the ball as well, it looked like. They didn't really create enough chances. I thought Leno had a fantastic game in goal. And again, it kind of just questions the saying that Arsenal fans have been saying for a long time with Leno, is that when he's busy and when he's needed to be busy, he's a fantastic keeper. It's when he doesn't need to be busy and we don't have that many shots on our goal, that's when you find out his flaws and his mistakes. But he was fantastic. And so Chelsea never really troubled us to the point where I think in the second half they had a header which Leno tipped onto the bar, and then Giroud with the rebound hit his shot onto the bar. They had another opportunity where I think it was Hudson-Odoi broke down the left, he crossed the ball in, and Pulisic was on the stretch, he shot, and Leno just gratefully grabbed it into his arms. But other than really those couple of opportunities, the first half, like I said, Hazard went for a goal, we didn't look uncomfortable whatsoever. And, you know, we had the opportunity to go ahead and score another goal. After Bellerin came on at right wing back for Saka, he played the ball to Ødegaard. I thought he should have maybe taken it on his right foot. He tried a little cut back to Bellerin, and the shot was very tame, and Kepa, you know, handled well. Thomas Partey went through on goal. He dived. He was kind of touched, but dived at the same time, and the referee gave him a yellow card for simulation. Chelsea had a couple of penalty shouts. Havertz went through, and he sort of tumbled over Gabriel's leg as opposed to Gabriel sticking his leg out and fouling him. And it was, they weren't given, and we won the game 1-0 and a resounding win, if I'm honest. And like I said at the start of the video, this is exactly what it felt like playing against a Mourinho Chelsea. Because, you know, the stats, and I don't think the stats are as bad, but the stats for the full time was Chelsea had 67% possession, we had 33. They had 4 shots on target compared to our 3. They had 9 off target. So they had 13 shots compared to our 4. We made 4 blocks compared to their 1 block. But yeah, we just didn't really. They made 44 crosses, by the way, compared to our 7. They weren't really in the case of, yeah, they had the ball, they dominated us in possession, but they didn't create a lot. You know, a lot of their shots, like I just mentioned, 9 shots off target, they were going everywhere. And so it was a resounding, you know, comfortable. In fairness, it was actually quite a comfortable win, because I watched the Chelsea side and I thought, you know what, as much as Thomas Tuchel got them playing really well, they didn't do a lot to really go, oh shit, we're in trouble here. So I'll jump into, you know, the good and bad performances. Like I said at the start, Leno I thought was fantastic. Made a couple of good saves, commanded his area really well. I thought Thomas Partey had his best game since Old Trafford, without a shadow of doubt. He commanded that midfield. His passing in the first half was a couple of little wayward passes, but every time he needed to make the tackle, he was right there and made a beautiful tackle, and it was perfect. And alongside him, Mohamed El-Neni, you know, alhamdulillah, he was amazing. He knew it was Eid tomorrow. You see that? He knew it was Eid tomorrow. So he knew full well that he was getting the highest of reward for his fasting during this month. So he put in a fantastic performance. And I thought, you know what? Smith-Rowe. Athletic put out an article today saying Smith-Rowe is due a new contract, or at least talks will be happening this month or the next couple of months. 100% deserved. He is exceptionally good, and it showed it today again. In a big game where he was needed, he drove with the ball, he was in the right places. You know, right towards the end, he sort of had the opportunity where he sort of went past about 3 or 4 players, nutmeg Thiago Silva. But for the fact that Reece James was there and done really well, in fairness, you know, and he got the goal. So, bad performances, I'll be honest with you, none. Saka had a little bit of a defensive lapse, but it's not his position. He's not a right wing back. Put him at left wing back, he might have been a different story. But it's not a bad performance, so I'm not going to go there. What it means going forward, let's be fair, not a lot again. I think, have we got Crystal Palace away from home next? You know, we still got the opportunity of making the top 7 if the results around us go the way they are. We're above Everton now in 8th. I think we're a point behind, or 2 points behind Tottenham in 7th. 3 points behind Liverpool, I think, in 6th, I want to say. But Liverpool have 2 games in hand, so do Everton. If Everton need to lose both their games, basically, for us to have any chance. But we've got Crystal Palace away from home on Wednesday at Selhurst Park. Again, it's a must-win game just for the sake of it. But in reality, not a lot is meaningful now. To be fair, not a lot matters. And then a bit of a close-in. Look, a great win. Not a great win because it doesn't mean anything, but a great win against a top side. Let's be honest. That's now 6 points against Chelsea. We've taken 3 points against Spurs this season, 4 points against United, 3 points against Leicester in and around us, 4 points against West Ham in and around us. So we, against the bigger sides or the top sides this season, we have been fantastic. Obviously, other than Liverpool and City, we haven't taken any points. But we've been fantastic against most of them this season. So we know we can play against the top sides. It's the smaller team that we need to focus on next season and put in performances. And, Arteta's come out this week, spoken all the right things, saying that he knows this team can only take him to a certain level, and there's been a little backlash on his comments. But for me, it's pretty simple. There are at least 9 players up for sale this summer. 6 players being linked this summer. He knows these players are not good enough to get him into the top 4. But he knows full well what he needs to get into the top 4 and beyond. And he's saying it. So I don't see what's wrong with that. He's saying that Cronkies are going to back him this summer. Let's be honest, it's going to put your money where your mouth is. Fabrizio Romano has mentioned, players that we're linked with. Basuma, Aouar, Max Aarons, even Emerson Royal, who I've done a piece on before. The Athletic put out that we are obviously following Sander Berg from Sheffield United, who's now been relegated. Joachim Andersen, who's also been relegated. I think he's on loan from Lyon. There's also another spoken about Moussa Dembele, from Lyon as well. Let's see. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe and hit the notification bell. Every time I upload a video, you'll be notified. Follow me on Twitter, Miss CJ Wright. Podcast as well, Kringle Talks Football. I'll talk to you soon after the Crystal Palace game. Like I said at the start, guys, Eid Mubarak, and hopefully you have a lovely day tomorrow and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Bye bye.